All right, today we are going to be drawing something that a lot of students and a lot of artists in general try to avoid having to draw. We're going to practice drawing a hand, but you know what? You shouldn't be that intimidated by them because if you really think about it, it's just a bunch of shapes. So my goal today is to help you draw a reasonable hand, not necessarily perfect, and for you to start understanding how a hand can be broken into simple shapes. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to have you do is you are going to draw, let's find about the center of our paper, and we are going to lightly sketch out. Think about it as a square or rectangle with curved edges. This is going to help us form the palm of our hand. Okay, so I'm really working in the shape of a square here. And I'm just curving those edges. And it's more than okay to just do some light sketching for this. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come down off of the bottom of the square and we are going to just draw 2 straight lines down. Now, you'll notice that I didn't put them right at the edge, okay? So we're gonna move these over a little bit. And later we'll come back and make a little adjustment to make this look a little bit more realistic. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start thinking about putting the thumb on. Now, what I didn't tell you is we're actually going to be drawing the I love you symbol using American Sign Language, which looks like this. Okay, so we're going to be doing something kind of a little more interesting than just drawing a hand flat out like this. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to do a rectangular shape that's going to come, I'd say to about here, so a little bit above halfway on the square. And we're going to turn it on its side and do it a little more diagonally. And we're going to go just to about the edge of the palm here with this square or rectangular shape. Okay, from here what we're going to do is we're going to draw on another rectangle that's curved. And then for our last one, we're going to add on that similar shape like this. Okay, not too hard so far. All right, let's go ahead and start putting on the fingers for our hand. So I'm going to very quickly just kind of give myself some guidelines about how tall I want the fingers to be. So this would be my pinky and my pointer finger. And I'm just kind of mapping this out really quick to kind of give myself an idea of how wide I want these to be. Okay, that's going to help me think about my placement for my other fingers and how wide they need to be. Okay, all right, so let's work from here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start mapping in the parts of our finger. So again, we're just going to do kind of some rounded rectangular shapes. Okay, do another one right on top of there. And then for the top one, it's going to be a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter in length, and we're going to round the top of it. All right, not too hard so far. Let's go ahead over here and do our first finger that's bent down. So we are going to, when we look at it from the front, we're going to see one rectangle that's rounded like this. And then we're going to see one more, which is the tip of our finger, and it's going to come down to about here. I'm going to round that a little bit more. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and place our next finger in. So I'm going to leave a little bit of space. They're going to touch. I'm going to leave a little bit of space right here. And I'm going to put in my next curved rectangle. And this finger is a little bit shorter than the other one, so we're going to stop it a little bit higher up. Okay, all right, let's map in our pinky finger. So these ones we're going to do a little bit on a diagonal. So I'm using this general guide of these lines that I put in here to help me put my placement in. And then one more. This is our shortest finger because it's our pinky finger, okay? It's also our thinnest, typically, or skinniest finger on our hand. All right, so we've got the general shape, and now we can go back in and start making adjustments to make this look more realistic, okay? But this is our basic layout for it. So now what we're going to do is start adding in those details and refining our work as we talk about in art. So obviously our fingers are going to connect to the palm of our hand. I'm going to bring this up a little bit, curve it there. Gonna come down here. And I'm going to put just a smidge of a fingernail in there. Okay, so we have that popped in there now. So what we can do is start going in with our eraser and pulling out some of those sketch lines that we had before. Okay, so we're gonna just pull out a few of those details so that we have something that looks more like this. Okay, so let's think about where else we need to make some adjustments and add some detail in. So I've already connected the finger here. So now I'm going to start coming up, and I'm going to put the line for the creases in our hands in there. Okay, so a bit like that. All right, then we're going to come over here, and we're also going to be putting some fingernails in on this hand, and we don't have to give them, you know, really extravagant fingernails. Just plain basic fingernails are fine. So I'm just coming up, and again doing kind of a rounded rectangle. Okay, all right, from there just kind of outlining the shape that I put in and erasing the lines in the center of the finger. Okay, so same thing over here. I'm tracing around the outside edges of those rectangles I drew. And then coming back in here and pulling out those lines. Okay, so let's work on our pinky now. So we're going to come over here, and again we're going to kind of follow that same process. I do pull the line in a little bit on this side with my pencil. Okay, go back in. And then let's put in some details on this side. So that it's not just a regular old rectangle over here. I'm going to curve this and bring it down. Curve this up a little bit. Let's see, over here on the wrist, we are going to do a curve line coming in now. Kind of just guided where our wrist was going to be. And I'm going to extend this line out a little bit. Bring this one in. And I'm going to put a line in here for the curve of the wrist. Now, depending on the style that you want this to be, the final look of it, you could go in and add in pencil shading, or you could go back in and simply outline it with a Sharpie. Okay, and then there are some other things you can do to get a little bit more creative with this. So you could come in here and you can write, you could sketch in the letters O, V, E to remind yourself that this means love. You could put a heart inside of this, decide how you want to color it in. You could come down here and just write maybe love in cursive. You could put hearts in the background. There's a lot of different ways to adjust and make this unique. So I think I might go ahead in with a fine point Sharpie, and we'll see if I come up with anything interesting once I go ahead and make those adjustments. Okay, so it's done, and while it may not be 100% perfect, it is a good way to start thinking about how to draw hands in a way that breaks it down into basic, simple shapes for you. So hopefully you found some success here and you won't be so intimidated when it comes to drawing hands in the future.